I'm just shaking my head, folks. In the BTT studios, live, all the way live, Big Tommy C's here, and he's shaking his head. And I know Gabby's shaking her head too, because I can't figure out what is going on with this show, Raw, for the past 3 weeks. Have you given me anything at all besides choking out Roman Reigns? Can somebody answer that friggin' question now? Can you write something? Can you build a friggin' character? I'm going to tell you how to build a character tonight, and his name is Joe Hendry. I'll get into that in a little bit, but let me bring my partner in crime in because we're pissed off tonight. She's sad and pissed off about what we just watched. Hello, Gabby.
Hi, Tommy. It's good to see you. You know, I'm always happy to see you. I'm not sad to see you. I love hanging with you. I love talking wrestling with you. But tonight, I'm not even, I know you're pissed. I'm so far beyond being pissed. It's like I'm like the parent who's like, I'm not mad at you. I'm just disappointed. I'm just disappointed and I'm just a little sad, quite honestly. I was talking to the boys before the show. Have you ever seen the movie The Replacements with Keanu Reeves?
Yes.
It's one of my
Yes.
favorite football movies of all time.
Yes.
And in the half, at the end of the movie, they're getting shit canned because
Yes.
they're using the original quarterback and he's an ass and they're not playing well. And they go to the coach and they go, "What will you need to get back into this ball game?" And he just hits points here, and she's like, "What?" And he's like, "You need heart to get back into it." There's no heart in this show anymore. I don't feel like there's any movement forward with characters I'm emotionally invested in, with storylines I'm emotionally invested in. There's no step forwards. We're just staying in the same place. I feel like I've watched the same Raw for 3 weeks and I'm not finding myself emotionally caring anymore about the characters, not the wrestlers personally, because they work their asses off, but I'm talking about the storylines and the characters that I maybe once wholeheartedly loved. Like that passion's not there right now. There's no heart in what we're watching. There's just none.
None. Started out in the first segment of the show. Heyman comes out, Vision, we hear the same crap. Same crap about the Vision, we're this, we're that, blah, blah, blah. I am bored to tears. I'm sorry. I love Paul Heyman, but I was bored tonight with
Yeah.
Paul Heyman. I must admit. Did he mail it in tonight or what? I have no idea. Brought me nowhere. We still know they're the tag team champs. We still know with the Street Profits and everything else. It's just amazing how there's no build of characters at all. And I am just so mad about this. It's just incredible. And let's start out with one of your favorites, Saul Ruka. Great package, right? Has a match, and she's smiling afterwards, Gabby. Are you kidding me?
This is my issue is you're building Soul to be this massive star coming up from NXT that WWE is going to get behind her and they truly believe in her and she's going to be a big deal. They had her interrupt Liv Morgan her first night on Raw and have a great match with Liv Morgan. They showed a great video package for her, contract signing for her. They don't do contract signing just for anybody from NXT that's up there. They do the contract signing. Her and Becky have the whole thing going on. So you're like, okay, cool. She's going to be going after Becky for that title. Awesome. Like, I love to see it. All right, we're going to randomly put her in a match with Io. I'll take it because I know it's going to be a good match. It's Io, Sky, and Soul Ruka. Amazing. But right before the match, they play a phenomenal video package of Rhea Ripley, who isn't on Raw anymore, by the way. They made it very clear she's now moved to SmackDown. But whatever, we see a great video package about her journey from NXT becoming the massive star that she is showing her and how she's progressed and grown throughout the years. Awesome. Honestly, the video package was great for Rhea Ripley. Right off that video package, Soul Ruka's entrance hits, and you're like, okay, they're showing that Rhea Ripley's evolution from NXT to champion that she is today is what we're going to be seeing in the investment that we show in Soul Ruka. Okay, cool, great. I can believe it. And then she loses the match against Io Sky, who doesn't need to win because it's Io Sky, who we know is a major player. She loses, and at the end of the match, hugs. Oh, thank you so much for having me. Like, Soul, you just showed up. You keep talking about trying to make an impact. You interrupted the champion. You have a thing with another girl who has a title in Becky Lynch, and you lose to Io Sky in a random match, and you're smiling and hugging her just for the payoff to be for you to go in the back, and then Becky Lynch to be like, yeah, guess what? I'm not taking you seriously. You just lost to Io, so why the hell would I be in a program with you, basically? Like, What are we doing? What are we doing? It doesn't make it make sense to me. Help me.
That doesn't build character. It made her look like an idiot. If anything, it lowered her characterization that she's not even close to being equal with Becky or even getting a match. You lose to Io Sky and you're smiling. If I'm a young guy and I'm a new character, I am not smiling. I'm pissed off about the
Right.
whole thing. And then they made a fool out of her backstage. Made her look like a big jabroni sitting there like this, and Becky just ripped on her, and that was it. So how am I supposed to believe in Saul Ruka when you put this big package on? You did a contract signing with her. They don't do that a lot with a lot of superstars. They did it with her, and then you do nothing. Again, what we said in the beginning, build characters week by week by week. You know what they did with her? They put her down.
You know what the simple solution would have been for this whole thing? You don't want Io to lose? Okay, great. Have Becky come out because now she has a thing for Soul who's coming after her. Hit with the distraction to make Io win. Do something to make Soul lose. Becky's now the reason Soul lost because she interfered on, this mega girl who's about to be great in the company. Io wins. Becky comes out with the distraction. She turns around and she's like, "Welcome to Raw, bitch. This is my show." Cool. Now I'm more invested in the feud. You just cost her a win against a credible player on the roster, and you're now building towards Becky and Soul. To make her lose clean like that and then be happy about it, I'm like, is she not taking it seriously? Is she just there for fun? Like, I don't want to see somebody that's there for fun on the roster when you're telling me that she could be as big as Rhea Ripley. You're playing that program right before. So it's like that would have been the easiest way to make it make sense with the same payoff. A better payoff in that sense. I just don't know why that couldn't have been what we saw instead. It doesn't make much sense to me. That's where my mind is a little boggled, and I watch it. I'm like, what are we doing? It's that helped nobody in any instance of the situation. Not at all.
Io doesn't need to be built up.
No.
She's there. You know who needs to be built up? Saul Ruka, guys. Saul Ruka needs to be built, and they went backwards with her. You show a great package, and then you ridicule her in the back with Becky to make her seem like she's not even close to being on the same level at all. I don't know who's writing this stuff, but whoever came up with that is just ridiculous. Oh, we want you to smile in the ring because you just lost.
It's insane.
Really?
Why would she be happy? She hasn't even been here a month.
Oh, I had a good match?
Yeah.
But I lost. Oh, okay. And then I'm going to go in the back and look like an idiot.
And by the way, for people watching that don't know Soul, they didn't even let her hit her finisher, which is her massive move that, they'd say she botched in the Becky segment last week. And then they had Io stop her from doing it tonight. So it's like, you're literally doing everything possible to make sure she's not over in any kind of way. Like I don't understand. And it only it's not the talent's fault. You know what I'm saying? She's doing what she's being told to do. It's not Soul's fault. I still absolutely love her, but how, you're tying her hands behind her back at this point. It sucks because she's someone I'm so excited about being on Raw and I'm so over. And I'm like, they're already starting with the wrong foot forward. And it's just why? And it's so simple. It's not hard. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not even someone who's been in the business as long as you, and I know it's simple.
Yep. Well, it is simple, and I'll tell you about that in a little bit there. The other thing, what I did like tonight was the Street Profits and the Vision. We know they're going to clash. I think it's Saturday night's main event first. Is that
Mhm, 2 weeks
doing
back.
that right?
Mhm.
And Hendry was there tonight, but I like the slow buildup of Seth coming and helping, and then he didn't know that Montez didn't know. Was it Montez? Yeah, Montez didn't know he helped him out. Blah blah blah. I like that slow build. If they keep it going, they did a pre-tape afterwards. Slow build of eventually. I think these guys are going to be together some way, somehow. Because right now, Seth Rollins is on an island. And they're not really doing anything. CM Punk's not around. Drew's doing a movie. I have no idea what's next for Seth Rollins. I think this is what's next for Seth Rollins. For people to start believing in him and not what everybody says he is, but a sellout. So I like that. That was one of the only things I liked about this show tonight. And I hate to say that, but that was it. And it's a nice little slow build. We'll see where it goes. Will the Street Profits be champs? I think eventually they will. Maybe not main event. Maybe it'll be Clash in Italy or something like that. It's still to be determined. What did you think?
Listen, I have always loved the Street Profits. I think they're one of the last remaining actual tag teams with chemistry that like are boys, and they've been together for a long time. So I've been waiting for them to have a championship run in a very significant way like this. So yeah, I think attaching them to Seth at this point when Seth is on this island and making it kind of move forward in that way makes total sense. I want them to be champions for the sole fact that I need Montez or his partner, one of them to turn so that Montez can have a singles run. Because Montez Ford, even tonight, when he was talking to Seth backstage, like he is such a major player, and I feel like he doesn't get enough credit or shine in the way that he is. Like his athleticism, his personality, the way he can entertain. If he's really given what he deserves to be given at a certain point, he can really be one of the guys. And he's never been given the opportunity to be so. And I've said it from the jump, like he is ridiculously talented. And I love the tag team chemistry he has with his boy, and I get it, but let's get this rolling because I'm ready for him to have that run and to be in a title run. I'm ready for him to be playing with the big boys. He's everything in a total package. I want to see him against, the Trick Williams. I want to see him against the Cody Rhodes. Like he can hang with those guys. He really can. He just hasn't been given the creative. He hasn't been given that like push yet. So I want them in the title for the tag teams so that it can develop more so for it to kind of break off in that sense. Will it be anytime soon? No. But like Montez Ford has the it factor, and he always has. And I think people sleep on him, and I don't really know why. So if this is a step in that direction where we can maybe see him and Seth at one point against each other, like I would love to see that shit. Like give it, you know what I mean? So that's kind of my selfish reasons as to why. But yeah, put the tag titles on an actual tag team. There's so few of them left in the company.
Yep. And you're preaching to the choir. A year ago with me and Coach, I brought it up about Montez. He needs to be a single.
Yeah.
He looks great. He can cut a promo. He's a great athlete. He was Rock S for me, like
Yes.
Rock 2.0 or something like that. But they haven't listened to us at all. They kept him away for like 6 months, both of them. He didn't need Dawkins at all, really.
No.
But they brought him back together. I like Dawkins. I think they're going to be eventually tag team champs. And that's how you build characters and young superstars. Montez Ford, hello,
Right.
young superstar,
Right.
build them up. But
He's
they
so
don't do that.
likable. He's
They
just
don't
so
do that.
likable too. Like he had the show with Bianca, and I watched the whole thing, and like you can't not like him. He's the same as Bianca in the sense of like you just love them. You want good. Like he is a buyer's dream. If you talk about like Netflix and doing any kind of endorsements outside of WWE, like him and Bianca are the couple, in my opinion, that is lovable. Yeah, you have Becky and Seth, of course. You have Punk and AJ, but Montez and Bianca are like the new couple that I think could really carry WWE on their backs. Of course, she's having a baby now, and we won't see her for a minute, but they're so in love, and their story meeting through wrestling is so beautiful, and they're just like a young hot couple, and they're both
Yep.
insanely athletic, the two of them together. So they could be, to me, they could have a spinoff like Miz and Maurice and be as successful in that sense and go off in that way, and I would watch it in 2 seconds. So
Yeah, they're pretty hip, man. And she
yeah.
makes just the fact that she makes her own outfits and everything.
Oh my
That's just
god.
incredible. And
Yeah.
he's a cool dude. I mean, he's a sharp guy. He's in great shape. Will they ever listen to us? Who knows?
Who
So,
knows?
we started this show talking about character building, right? And
Mhm.
I'm old school. I've been WWE 32 years. I've seen a lot. I've been around the vignettes. Here I'm going to tell you the difference about old school vignettes and not doing any vignettes at all. And I'm talking about one guy. And his name is Joe Hendry, who was in TNA and then NXT, and he was huge in TNA, and then he came to NXT, right? And then he just brought him up, and like, who is this guy? If you're not a rabid fan, if you're a casual fan, which I know WWE likes to get, is a casual fan, who the hell is this guy with the blonde hair, Joe Hendry? I have no idea of his background, what he did, how he did it, blah blah blah. This is why when he came out again tonight, the crowd was crickets singing the Logan Paul song. Cole had to come in and sing it. Nobody was like following him at all. Do you know why that happened, guys? Because nobody knows who the hell he is in Tennessee, all right? And around the U.S., okay? Not everybody watches TNA. Not everybody watches NXT. They watch Raw, though, and they don't know who this guy is. Let me go back when I was there when we built characters. Let me bring up a guy named, oh, what's his name? Mr. Perfect. Mr. Perfect. Do you think Vince just brought Mr. Perfect because he was Larry the Axe Henning's son? He came from Minnesota? No. They didn't bring him up and say, here he is, Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect. Who the hell is he? You know what we did? And I was there. I worked on these. I went on the shoots. We did like 6 to 8 weeks of vignettes. He's Mr. Perfect. He plays baseball. He's great in baseball, football, basketball, swimming. This we're telling a story about Mr. Perfect and who he is, and he's so great and he's arrogant as hell. He ridicules Wade Boggs. How can you do that? Mr. Baseball. But you know when he came in, everybody knew what the character was and nobody. And the dude was a great athlete, man. I was there when he was doing the basketball shoot. He was just incredible, making the shots from half court. Incredible. You know what that is? That's a vignette we'd aired on Superstars 1 week, 2 weeks, three, until it's time to see Mr. Perfect debut on Superstars. Now, as a fan, I have an idea who this guy is. They didn't do this with Joe Hendry. They should have done vignettes with Henry say, "Hey, I'm Joe Henry. I did this. I'm from here. I love crowd participation. I love this. I like to sing, blah blah." Now, when he comes out, okay, now I know what he's all about. That's the problem with this company today. Nobody does. Nobody does vignettes at all until you wait till he comes out. They just pop him up there and assume that you watch NXT on the CW every Tuesday or they came from TNA. And I don't watch either one of them. I hate to say that. I don't. That's the problem with this company. And you can't build young characters like that. It's just incredible. That's just an example, Gabby, of what we did back in the day when I was there and the chairman ran the company.
Yeah, listen, I totally get it. At the prime of Joe Hendry as well, like they were showing football players singing, like NFL players were singing his songs at practices and like doing all these things. Like, why not clip some of that stuff up and show how like global he is in other things so that people that don't know him and are watching are like, oh, he's a big deal. Like he's not, what I think he is. Because if you didn't know who Joe Hendry was and you just turned on Netflix and were watching Raw, you might think it's borderline corny of like sing-alongs and the bootleg Elias and all these kinds of things because that's what people want to say about it, and that's not. Joe Hendry is someone who was in the company for like what 14 years wrestling. Like his story is actually pretty incredible. He was wrestling for however long it was until he ever got over, and like him writing that song and being unique and different is what helped him get over. It's a great story, and he worked his ass off to get to it. So I wish they would take a peek behind the curtain a little bit when it comes to Joe Hendry because he's going to get a massive, I think, pop in the other countries because he's from another country. Like he should do well in that sense. But why do you have to lean on that when it comes to like the American fan base when you're trying to make people invested in these new players that we see? He's not a young guy. He's not a 25-year-old being brought up from NXT
No.
where like a Sol Ruka, like Ethan Page who hasn't been like a Ricky Starks, like these guys that are coming up from NXT and don't have like the same history that Joe Hendry has, or I just Javon Evans who's what 21 years old, like these young guys that haven't made that mark yet, like Hendry has. He's been in it for so long. Like use that because it makes him more relatable, it makes him more lovable to the fan base, and takes him more seriously as a superstar.
You know what I like to see? And you bring up all great points about Henry. You know what I like to see them work on just a little more is Jacob Fatu.
Yeah.
Work on his background, where he came from, prison, this, that, where his life was, where it wasn't where Roman Reigns or the Usos were. Go back to his neighborhood. Go back to where his friends were. Go back to what he did. Do you want to build this character up to be a real badass? Do that then. Show him this is where I was behind the bars, in prison. I had to fight for everything. That's why I'm fighting for this championship. You want to build Jacob Fatu up even more? Go in his background, dig it up, do a couple of vignettes instead of him putting that stupid thing in. Boy, I tell you, if Roman doesn't survive this chokehold, whatever you call that claw thing, he never will, because he's taken it about maybe 200 times already,
Yeah.
and he's come back with a super punch. So
They just assume that everybody knows Jacob's past because like so many people do.
show it to me.
Right, because his whole thing is that he's crazy, and the Usos
Yeah,
like even say to Roman, they're like, "No, dude, like, cuz is crazy. Like,
yeah.
He's a little nuts. Like, be careful. Like, blah blah blah." If you don't know anything about Jacob and and he's just crazy, you just think like, "Oh, he's just popping off." If you made him cut a promo like, "No, bitch, I am actually crazy. That's why I was in prison. That's why I do this. You think I'm scared of you? You think you're my family? I have no family. I've been alone. I'm an independent. I only take care of my like." If you have him cut something like that and really believe that he's this crazy, mother effer that he is, it's so much more believable because Roman is supposed to be the guy. I don't want to see Roman on his ass all the time from his cousin, and like he's just beating up all of them, and like the Usos, it's like they're there, but what are they really bringing to the table in the sense of like what's happening for the storyline? They're only there to see Roman get his ass beat, and then they get their ass beat too. So it's kind of just like Jacob's now strong enough to take out the entire family. It's just less believable for me when I don't know the history.
Yeah, and the other thing is, you know what? Go to the family. Let's talk about Jacob Fatu. What are the family relatives to? Oh man, the dude's friggin' off the chart. When I was young, he did this, I did that, or he was way in left field while everybody else is in right field. That's how you build his character up instead of being this madman and doing the claw hole, whatever that friggin' thing is that he puts in Roman's mouth, and we see the same thing, and he lays him out. And the fact of the matter that five big guys can't take him off is just so silly. It's not believable.
And like
Come on.
and the thing that hurts me is I love Jacob Fatu. Like
Yeah, I do
especially
too.
I loved Backlash. I thought it was a great match, him and Roman. And I really do think Jacob has everything it takes and every element needed to be the guy and have the title and be champion and really, really be the big dog in the WWE. Is he there yet? Not yet. And I think this can only help him by, building him with Roman and his family and all these kinds of things. They just have to dig a little bit deeper and push the envelope a little bit more. Because once Jacob's there, man, like, and he's unleashed, it's going to be fucking epic. And I can't wait to see that era of Jacob Fatu is going to be awesome because I'm very high on him. I like him a lot, and I want him to be that guy because I think he has everything it takes to be it. It's just like I said, they gotta twist the knife a little bit more and make it a little bit deeper and push it because he's got everything, man. He really has the total package.
Can you imagine him doing a program with Oba
Oh my god,
and doing the grip on Oba?
it's so good. Yeah, but like they're both just you can't also not root for Jacob because you kind of love him
Yeah.
because you hate Roman. It's true, and he's like, you left my family broke, like all these kinds of things. It's like, oh man, like I do love him. You relate more to Jacob, I think, than people do to Roman when it comes to the family and like the story. And you could remind people why people used to hate Roman as much as they did, really, and
Yeah.
what he's done for the family. Like you think you did nothing for me and my family, bro. Like it's all real and it's all there. It's just they gotta direction it and steer it a little bit better for me to really fully invest in it.
Do you think, my question to you is, do you think Fatu and Roman are going to go two more PLEs?
Till SummerSlam?
Yeah.
Really?
Do you think it could go to SummerSlam? Because right now they have nobody for Roman. And they could build this thing up big time if they know how to do it the right way.
I mean,
Besides doing the Tonga death grip every week.
well, that's the thing is like do it the right way, but something's gotta shift here. Something's gotta happen because I can't see this on Raw every week until SummerSlam. And
No.
yeah, I'm invested in this. And would it be like listen, we already know they're gonna put on a good match. That's without a
Yeah,
doubt.
well,
I've
yeah.
already seen it. But with no story, there's no heart, there's no emotion in the match. Like nobody's going to care who wins or loses, and that's the problem. If I don't give a shit who wins, you've already lost me, and that's a terrible way to go into anything. So could it go till SummerSlam? 1,000%. And then I think honestly, if they make it last that long, Jacob's going to be the guy, and he's going to beat his cousin Roman. I think that's the way it should be going if we're going to continue this rivalry as deep as we're going to go. But it has to be done where there's a switch up, there's a change up, something happens. Maybe you add another cousin into the mix. You have a switch up. You have you have to involve the family a little bit more. I know there's all the rumors about Zilla Fatu joining in on this, who's, Jacob's cousin, I think, not brother. I don't know. There's a lot of them. But like, there's little things that could happen to switch it up and change it. And I know they're high on Roman being on every show and all these things, which is great. But if it's the same stuff on Raw every single week, I physically don't think I can keep watching and pretending like I'm excited to see it.
Here's my problem. I'm going to come back at you with this. Because it's a new company that, well, not new, it's 3 years old, but
Yeah.
that owns WWE. Do they want that image of Jacob Fatu having the world championship? Because they're all about polished Cody Rhodes, going on Jimmy Fallon, doing other stuff, representing the company, and then you get this guy who he's an animal. He's an animal having like being the championship. You think they'll ever have that image of Jacob Fatu being the world champ and representing TKO and WWE? Now, I'm talking as a business aspect. I'm not talking storyline. I'm not talking characterization or anything. That's the hard thing for me to believe that will happen with Jacob.
Listen, I think one way that it could happen, if they really harp on the underdog family member going after, the head of the family that never made him, feel welcome, that never took care of his side of the family, didn't care about anybody but himself, and he was like the underdog in it who came out ahead, and it made him lovable in that sense. I think it could work because there's some kind of relatability to that throughout everybody. You make that happen where it's like, he had everything and I had nothing and he didn't care and he doesn't take me seriously. And I was the black sheep and no one ever thinks I can do it. And I had to prove everybody wrong. And I did this for my family. I'm doing this for everybody and that's why I'm crazy. That's why I'm the way I am. You make it like that. Yes, 1,000% he can be the face because it's a relatable thing. And he takes that story with him on every talk show he goes on and, on the podcast that he does and stuff. Like, Jacob's a very cool guy to talk to. He's been on podcasts and the way he carries himself, he knows how to do it. If it does, he's not the Tasmanian devil who's going to like speak gibberish. He can handle it. I think if they take it that way a little bit more, and he plays that underdog story for the family, I think 1,000% it can happen. It's just got to be taken that way.
It could work. I saw him on ESPN doing an interview right before Backlash, and he's the street cred guy. He's a street guy. You know what I mean? The way he talks. And let's face it, he's like every other young athlete, gold chain, the teeth and everything like that. And he's pretty hip and cool.
Yeah.
So maybe in the aspect of that building on him and what you're talking about, it could work. I'm not sure if Ari Emanuel's on board with that yet, because he's never been in the business. They always think of the business end of it. They don't think of it as being in the business and what's right for the business.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's something that the chairman always did. Whatever was right for the business, whatever the fans thought was right or wrong, he would kind of switch it and go that way. So, I mean, whoever thought, that Bundy would be champ or any of these guys back in the day, it was totally different than it is today because we know it's all about the almighty dollar, right or wrong.
Yeah.
Somebody just wrote, I can't believe somebody wrote this in the chat, that Oba's strut is boring.
I think they're just trying to troll us, Tommy.
Well, I didn't say his name, but have you watched the crowd? And it's going to build even more every week. So whatever you're saying, you're wrong, and you're going to see it build even more. Yeah. I just want to see somebody come up against Oba. That's what I need to see. Yeah. Instead of these guys that are not up to his capabilities or bring Braun Strowman back. I would love to see it.
Oh,
and Braun would probably do the job for him too. But
I think maybe when Bronson Reed comes back, that could be a good component for him. I know he's injured and we haven't seen, it's just hard. All the big guys are either on SmackDown or they're not on right now. It's difficult. I think maybe when Orton returns, he could be great for Oba.
Wow.
Could you imagine, Orton's just, listen, I told you this today too. I never thought on Raw I'd miss CM Punk and these guys that would cut the same promos every week. I'm I'm dying for a CM Punk promo on a Monday Night Raw. We've seen the same exact people and the same exact storylines the past 3 weeks.
Yeah, Rusev's boring. What's the new guy? Javon
Evans.
Allen.
Evans is
John
great.
Evans is great. I just wish he would do some wrestling moves.
Penta, you see Penta
Oh,
doing the same thing. It's the same. Listen, I didn't mind the stuff with the women tonight, the tag stuff, because I thought Roxanne kind of hitting below the belt when they were like, oh, you always looked up to us. You were a diva lover. And she's like, yeah, when you were young and like relevant, you're not anymore. And I don't mind it because I think the Judgment Day saying like, this is one of my biggest pet peeves, Tommy, is when a faction or people come out and they're like, yeah, welcome to our show, but you're not champions. So how is it your show? Like, that's my biggest pet peeve when Raquel's like, welcome to the big show of like Raw, while she's saying it to the champions and they're not tag team champions. Like, I hate that. I know why they do it because, they've been around for a minute, but I think I'm excited for that because I think Raquel and Roxanne, need to get some gold to be in the Judgment Day and talk the smack that they talk. But, Nikki sent out a message, a tweet, and she was like, I'm going to go all 2015 on the Judgment Day when I'm back because she's pissed that they went after her sister and stuff and she wasn't there. My only gripe with all of this, it's all fine and good, it's all great, is why is Liv Morgan now winning the championship, had zero feuds, nobody going up against her, no opponent, and she's just helping the girls win the tag titles when she's the fucking champion?
I agree.
Like, I don't understand it. And no opponent in sight, by the way.
No.
She did her speech when she won after WrestleMania. Soul interrupted her. They had a great match. Vaquer's hurt. She said, the little tease with Rhea Ripley going to SmackDown. Where's her opponent? She's the champion. She hasn't defended it once. She hasn't cut a promo about being champion. No one's coming at her for being champion. I'm just very confused because now we have the two most over women in the company as champions, Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, who are the two most over girls, I would say, in the company right now. And I don't know, they have a good program going with Rhea, and I think JC Jane kind of on SmackDown. I think there's a lot of things going on SmackDown that I actually like. But like, you have Liv Morgan. I can't name you one girl right now on the Raw roster who I'm like, oh yeah, I'd love to see her in a program with Liv Morgan. Not one. And she's just worrying about her friends winning the tag titles.
Why don't they have Becky go at her? I don't get that.
Becky, Soul had the match with her. You don't think she's not mad anymore that Soul interrupted her night of celebration and they had a match? She's not mad about that anymore. You know what I mean? Like, Io Sky interrupted Becky. Open challenge for the title, but Io Sky's not facing Liv. Put Io Sky in a program with Liv Morgan. Io has nobody anymore. I don't know what's going on with Asuka. By the way, if Asuka's done, I'm depressed and we're not talking about it enough because
I don't think she is. I don't think she is.
I don't know what symbolically she walked out with the suitcase. She put that picture of herself on social media with the song My Way playing right after Backlash. She kind of handed EU got the win, and it was kind of like a send-off. She was emotional. Even tonight, they hugged it out, and she said, we'll always be family. Like, you're my protege. Like, I love you. All these kinds of things. It looks like all things are pointing to her semi-retiring, retiring, kind of taking a step back. So Io is literally on her own. There's no Kyrie. There's no Asuka. There's no Rhea. Give Io, you know what I mean? Now people are finally behind Io and you can't give her a program with Liv Morgan. That would be a banger of some matches. Just do it. She's just going to have random matches or like, it's just the women's roster has the talent, but there's no direction for rivalries and feuds. I want drama. I want to care. Io's a massive babyface and Liv is playing this badass heel. It only makes sense. So give it to me. Let me see some good matches.
Bring Charlotte over.
Bring Charlotte over. Bring anyone. I don't care. Bring anybody over at this point. I don't get it. Why does Liv give a shit about her friends winning the tag titles that she's helping out when she's the fucking champion? She's just going to sit around and be like, well, no, it's fine. And like, if you're waiting for them to win the titles for Roxanne to turn on her or something, like, it's going to take a while. And this is what they did with Jade. Jade never defended her title.
Nope.
It's just, you could put anyone against Liv and it's Liv Morgan. So people will be invested. You now have over people. So you can do it. It's, you know what I mean? Where's Natty? Where's Maxine Dupree, who we see, with Austin Theory now and all these kinds of things. Okay, cool, great. Let's see it happen. You had this high on Maxine for a while, completely diminished her star power from going anywhere.
I agree. Totally.
It's so frustrating because it's not the girl's fault.
The whole writing team is very frustrating. I mean, Raw and SmackDown, they spent the last 15 minutes of SmackDown on the gingerbread funeral. I wonder how guys like Carmelo Hayes and that Dragunov guy and all these young superstars are in the back watching this bullshit that we're watching wasted on Gingerbread Man. Not building, again, the theme of our show, Gabby, building
Right.
characters, future superstars. No, let's do a funeral for Gingerbread Man.
Yeah.
Come on. I couldn't believe that was going on.
It's
What
crazy.
are we doing? And then Raw tonight, again, the end, and we'll finish up with Roman, again with Jacob in the ring. You knew Jimmy was going to beat him. You knew Jay. You knew Fatu was going to lay out Jay. He's walking, and I'm waiting. When's he going to hit him? He hits him in Gorilla. Jimmy comes. Boom. These two, super punch. And then the Tonga death grip. How many times was it? 10, 15 times? Then all the boys come out, and they cannot pull Fatu off of Roman. It's just ridiculous. It's just not real. And when you make it not real, that's what makes a joke. Even with Roman Reigns there, walking out, you thought it was the end of the show. The ref is there, and he turns around, and then he lays him out and just puts him through the barricade there with the the Usos and Roman, leaving Roman to later think, oh my God, what can Roman do? Can he beat this guy? That's why I think this is gonna go 2 more PLEs,
Yeah.
and maybe finally it'll end with a street fight or maybe a Hell in a Cell where these two are just gonna go at it, and they can do that because they're two Samoans and they're two great wrestlers. That match at Backlash that I watched was a great match. They told a great story going back and forth, back and forth. The false finishes, everything. I thought it was just phenomenal. That was the best match of the night besides EO and
Oscar.
was another barn burner there.
Give me, you know what I want to see? I want to see a video package, something about the history of the Samoans. Like, I want to see the families. I want to be emotionally invested in getting to the point of the story. Cause like, I know they're related. I kind of know it. I don't know the history deep enough where like, I know so much about it that it makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, as more of a casual fan, bring me in that way because I'll get the emotion that way. You show me stuff like that where it's easy to follow, and I'm like, oh, like now it makes sense. Like I want to see that because it makes them realer as people and as a family and as people that are related. Because everyone loves to see a good family feud, but I think like go a little bit deeper and richer in the history in these promo packages, these vignettes that you're so good at doing, and it'll make the people care more than they already do. Like it's just I don't know. I think if they went that route with it, then I wouldn't be mad if they continued it on to SummerSlam. And like I said, I think Jacob could be the guy. It's just keep making the right decisions so that it leads to that as opposed to this lazy writing where it's just the same attack every Raw.
It's repetitive writing every week. Let's do this again. Let's do this again to make Roman really, really vulnerable. That's there's no other creative way they can be with this.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
It's tough.
That's the problem with the whole thing there. But I think you're right. I think it's going to go because there's no even if he beats Fatu again. I mean, who else is on the roster right now that would challenge Roman Reigns? They're not here.
It's
Drew's not here.
Drew's not here. Orton, I don't know where Orton is. We haven't seen him.
I don't know either.
Punk said he's not taking a break, but we haven't seen him.
We haven't seen him either.
And by the way, these are all people that have been around forever. You know what I'm saying? This isn't anybody built new. This is Randy fucking Orton, CM Punk, and Drew McIntyre, who are all major veteran players. So it's like that's why I want to see Roman Oba. Like I want to see something fresh. I want to see something new. That's why I don't mind it being Jacob Fatu. Because it could be his time by that time. And then strap it on a new person. I love it. But it's like it needs to be believable. You can't just do it and tell me this is what we're doing and you're stuck with it. Like I want to believe in it. I don't want it to be like, oh, they only put it on him because it needs to be a new face. Because if it comes down to that, we're also not stupid as fans watching it. Like we get it, but like it's Jacob Fatu not built correctly is not going to sell tickets as champion. And that's just the truth of the matter.
I'm looking at somebody in the chat here. Mike the Finger says, click, copy, click, paste.
Rinse and repeat. Tommy, before we go, I got to know your take on the Cena Classic.
You know what? This is what surprises me about this. I've seen Cena more retired than I have when he was unretired.
True, 100%.
Yeah, I
So
think it's
funny.
just another thing they want to keep. I guess TKO really loves John Cena, and Cena's really a good guy. He's dedicated to the product. Um, the concept of this happening is great. It's just another championship. If you really think the fans are going to vote for the champion, you got another thing coming.
It's amazing. It's
Yeah,
amazing that
yeah,
everyone's like, I don't want the fans to vote. They're just going to vote for who they like. I'm like,
it
dude,
doesn't matter.
think they're going to listen to the fans? This is all this is doing is saying, if you don't like who we chose, go after each other and not us because the fans picked it. You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah,
them
yeah,
being like, well, we're listening to you and you guys did what you do and like, oh, you're mad, turn on each other. You know what I mean? Go fight each other all over the place. Like it's so funny. And I'm just like, at this point, just bring back King of the Ring. Bring back these
yeah.
kind of things that you already have. I don't understand why it's just because it's John Cena's name. Sure. Let's
Did
make
they ever say when it was going to happen? No.
I don't think so, no.
Yeah. I mean, this could be perfect for Oba. Who knows?
I,
Right?
sure. Oba doesn't need it. You know what I'm saying? Like what I want to see come from this, if anything, because they said it's going to include NXT talent. Put some shine on some really talented guys that nobody would see not on the main roster. Honestly, that's what I would love to see and get them over with the fans and get some excitement for some fresh new faces. Because if it's the same people that we're seeing anyway, and they're just in matches and being voted for, like it's American Idol and I don't give a fuck. Like this is why American Idol is not a good thing anymore. You know what I mean? Like
No.
it's just like if you're going to make it opportunities for some fresh faces and some fresh talent and excitement, I am all for it in that
Yeah.
sense because maybe we'll get some breakout stars from it. You know what I mean? Maybe we'll get some viral people that we didn't know were over and they take this opportunity and become over. So that's the only shining light that I could see possibly come of it. And it's got John Cena's name on it. So they're just high on it, you know?
Yeah, and they want him to do it. He has, he has huge credibility with the
Right.
fans and all the superstars. That's why he came out and did this. They made him, I'm sure it was a decision this creatively with Triple H and a bunch of other TKO guys, and let's have Cena involved more than ever. So
Yeah.
we'll see how it goes. And like I said, our theme of the show was please build some characters for us. Another guy quickly, Ricky Saints. Got all the talent in the world, comes up, got zero pop or anything like that. Do a couple of vignettes with this guy so I know who he is. I know he came from AEW. He wasn't Ricky Saints then. But let's do some characterization with this guy on who he is and when he comes up. Now I'm going to decide whether I like him or not.
Right.
You
Well,
just don't bring him up.
Look what they did with Royce Keys. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
well,
You take that whole backstory for Royce Keys. You can't not love him after that. Like they gave you everything about it. It's impossible to not be invested in him. Why can't they? Why do they pick and choose certain people to do that for? What's the point of bringing these guys up if you're not going to give them a fighting chance and really sell them in the best way you can? And that's by telling their fucking story.
and you brought him out the worst possible was in Saudi Arabia, who nobody knew who he was.
Right. And you
Right?
still got him over at this by this point.
Right.
That's why I want to
Bad.
see Oba face by the fucking way. Give
Yeah.
me Royce Keys and Oba Femi.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yep.
It's you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, cool. He'll probably be with Solo on SmackDown, but like, dude, like what a missed opportunity that is having them on different shows.
That would be a banger, man.
Banger of a match because
I would
Royce
love
is
that.
strong enough to pick him up too. Royce,
Yep.
And they're both loved, so it would be a very interesting dynamic.
I gotta tell you, Gabby, I'm proud of ourselves because we made chicken salad out of that chicken. She is it, as they say.
Lemonade out of lemons.
That's a little carny there. You hear that? That she is it. That's how they talk in carny back in the day with Mean Gene Okerlund and all the boys out there. But it was another. I think we did a stellar job. What do you think?
Listen, it's always fun anyway talking to you. What can I say? I didn't curse and I didn't have a rant tonight, so it could have been worse.
Yeah, we could have Gabby's gavel now.
Yeah.
It's a new segment. It's not going to be every week, so you guys got to wait for it. And my new segment every week called Tommy's Beef.
Yeah. Listen, no beef and no gavel tonight. We kept it in the holster, so you
Yes,
got to
we
keep
did.
an eye out for that.
Yep. For myself and Gabby, we bid you adieu on this glorious night of Monday Night Raw. Remember, tomorrow is the 2 count with JD from New York and the Coacher. at 11:30. Make sure you check them out. And then Coaching Bro on Thursday and Monday and Thursday with Coaching Bro. And then, of course, right after Monday Night Raw, you got Big Tommy C and Gabby for the last word. That's it for me, and that's it for my girl Gabby. See ya. Wouldn't want to be ya.